up, put us up for good.
You know, that possession right there, we didn't want to call timeout and give them the ability to sub. So, you know, he's been great in that situation, targeting the defender that he wants to go at. Got to the paint, got a good look, and, you know, like you said, just followed his shot. A great competitive spirit play. And, you know, his defense on the last possession obviously helped secure the game, but all throughout, you know, he was terrific on the ball, and as always, just a quarterback of our defense.
As a Laker since the 2018-19 season, he had been 0-6 on such shots. So it wasn't his best game, if you will. LeBron finished just 6 of 19 shooting, but he was at his best, Mark, when the Lakers needed the most.
Yeah, and you wouldn't expect this to be his best game because he hadn't played a NBA game since mid-March before the season was put to a halt. But he made superstar plays and coming through in the clutch at crunch time with the go-ahead game winner, a defensive stop. But these are not just superstar plays. These are fundamental plays where he kept his composure when he thought he had contact. When he missed the first shot, he followed through for the tip-in. And then he took on the defensive challenge to both defend Kawhi Leonard and Paul George with a lot of good fundamentals with his stance and his arms to put some pressure into Paul George taking a pretty bad shot at the end.
Yeah, Mark, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was really impressed by what LeBron did. It wasn't, as Ali said, his best game. He shot about 30%. He had the 5 turnovers. A little bit rusty at times for sure, but are we surprised at all that he was the guy to help deliver that win? First on the offensive end, kind of ripping through not 1, not 2, but 3 Clippers, kind of beating him to that rebound. And, of course, on the defensive end, just love how, you know, Paul George at the end of the game was like, where's the foul call? Where's the foul call? Good luck with that against LeBron James in the final seconds of a game.
Well, according to the 2-minute report, it was not a foul on either he or Kawhi. The defense, Frank Vogel, let's go to that end, has spoken about how vocal Bron is calling out defensive assignments, and he made sure that the Clippers did not get an easy shot there to win it at the end. Mark, being there, were you able to hear any of that kind of talk, communication from him on that end of the floor?
Oh, without a doubt. I was hearing all sorts of things on the court throughout the game because there's no fans in the stand. So I was thoroughly entertained hearing guys communicate on defense, but I was most entertained with hearing the players and the coaches just rip into the officials, getting so upset with the whistles. And look, obviously teams have to keep their composure, not let that detract from the game plan. But from an entertaining standpoint, I love that interaction that we can hear those exchanges a lot clearly now because there's no fans there.
Mark, I'm going to help you a little bit with an assignment. I know you got a lot of work to do for USA Today, but a very underreported story has been LeBron's improved defense this season. So get to work on it, would you? I mean, it's pretty evident compared to last season. Remember that image of Kyle Kuzma, like shoving him out near the elbow to guard someone at the three-point line? I mean, LeBron just, you know, perhaps by his own admission, didn't quite have the season that he wanted last year. A lot of it had to do with injury. It didn't help that the Lakers won 37 games. He's not used to that. So definitely, you know, all the washed king whispers and everything, he's been able to rally around that this season and really improved defensive games, including last night. Very impressive in those final seconds.
Hey, Mark, moving forward, if there are any kind of trash talk or defensive assignments, if you will, that you hear and want to shoot me a text, let me know. I love all that stuff, so feel free. You got my number.
Well, I'll pop it into the ground.
LeBron was big late, but AD fueled the Lakers from the jump. He finished with a game-high 34 points. It's his 20th game with at least 30 this season. He and LeBron are the first Lakers duo to each score at least 30 20 different times in a season since Shaq and Kobe in 2002-03. AD was the star of stars in this matchup. He clearly did not struggle in the fan-free environment.
I mean, it's always a great battle with these two teams, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, when you're out there playing, you're locked into the game and don't hear anything else. So it wasn't quite staples, especially the intros. You know, we're used to the curtain falling down and the music playing pretty loud, get that bass in the arena. But it wasn't bad. You know, a lot of people had a lot of concerns, you know, just how it was going to be, but it turned out pretty well.
Now, the win gives the Lakers a 6.5-game lead over the Clippers for the top spot in the West with 7 games to play. So either one more Lakers win or one more Clippers loss over the final 7 games, and the Lakers will lock up the #1 seed. Now, against a team like the Clippers, Mark, I'll start with you. Did AD show us last night that he is, in fact, the go-to guy from the jump? Of course, it was a huge third quarter for him and, of course, right out of the gate. But I'm just saying he could not be guarded at all.
Allie, he could not be guarded at all. He looked a lot healthier. And I think, frankly, he was the most consistent player yesterday. Look, it was a very ugly game. Guys were missing shots. But Anthony Davis was leaning on the fact that he was drawing whistles and he was making his free throws. So even well before he went on the tear in the third quarter, he was keeping the Lakers in the game just because he was just converting at the free throw line. So I think, you know, as much as we saw a really good Anthony Davis this season, I expect even better things to come because he's completely injury-free. And that'll, I think, do wonders as this season becomes more challenging down the line.
Mark, I guess it's a good thing that he did not wear goggles last night. Obviously did not need them at all. I loved what he did towards the end of the third quarter. Lakers starting to fall behind a little bit. He hit back-to-back three-pointers. Again, expanding that repertoire that we've seen throughout the season in bits and pieces, but really came up with 2 big ones right when the Lakers really needed a little bit of an energy boost. And as you alluded to, 16 of 17 from the free throw line. Are you kidding me? He was about 85% coming into last night behind the stripe. Mark, he's already on his way to being one of the best single-season big men for the Lakers ever from the free throw line. It's been amazing what he has done. It's not sexy to talk about free throws. It's not exciting. Allie Clifton, you played college basketball. You know, who wants to watch a bunch of free throws, but still to hit 16 out of 17, pretty impressive stuff right there.
Watch him. Who wants to shoot him? I was not good from the free throw line.
Oh, no. What
Don't
were
Google
you?
that.
What were you, about 70%, 80?
I'm not going to tell.
What was the shooting percentage?
I'm not going to expose myself here with that. But, guys, I do want to ask one more point when it comes to Anthony, because, yes, he was phenomenal last night, and we do know how dominant he can be. But there was one factor that just did kind of sit on my mind that was not out there, and it provides some physicality once he returns, and that's a guy like Montrezl Harrell. If these two teams do ultimately meet up when it matters most in the conference finals, do you think that could kind of differ the way in which we see AD go to work?
Yeah, look, Allie, the game was completely different because the Clippers didn't have Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. But you know what? You can counter that the Lakers didn't have Avery Bradley. They haven't had Rajon Rondo. I think that the Lakers, the Clippers, any team that is equipped to make a playoff push, they're going to have to accept the reality that the rosters are going to be fluid throughout this full restart because there's going to be injuries. There's going to be guys that might have to leave the campus for personal situations. So as much as you have to admit, yes, that plays a factor, you have to find other ways to compensate that.
Yeah, Mark, when you have, 38 points not playing off the Clippers bench last night between Lemon Pepper Lou and, of course, Montrez, that's an issue that's going to have to be addressed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Montrez, an incredibly physical player, very gifted down low. So I'm sure the Lakers would have liked to have won this game by more than 2. But let's face it, the last time they did play, and pretty much everyone's roster was intact when they did see each other back in March. The Lakers won by right around 10 points. So, you know, they can handle this Clipper team. I want to see a little more Markieff Morris, too. I think he can be that physical guy to kind of counteract some of Montrezl Harrell's activity down low.
From Mark Medina saying that he was going to slide into my DMs to Brez talking about lemon pepper wings. We are off to a great start, guys. We're going to break. Next on Access, the NBA's restart has made national news, a powerful scene before the games as players and coaches protest social injustice. We'll hear their thoughts on the statement. And later, we'll talk to Frank Vogel. He's coached the Lakers to 50 wins and counting in his first season on their bench. What was win number 50 like for him in the bubble? Stick around.